So one of the most frequently asked questions I receive on this channel is, how do I fill my pocket notebooks? So for a little bit of context, the notebook I'm using currently is my 45th pocket notebook. And it's like, I'm like 1.5 pages done from finishing it. I'm almost on notebook number 46. And I started writing in pocket notebooks March of 2023. So I've been doing it for a long time, but I just recently, within the past year or so, have started picking up the pace. Like I filled up more notebooks in the last year than I have in the year before that. There's a couple reasons why, and I will explain those. One being the notebooks I used to use had a lot more pages, and so I would just fill them up. It would take longer to fill them up, like 3 months. But also back then I didn't write nearly as much. Like now I write so much to where even if I use my Pen and Gear mini composition books that have like 160 pages, I would probably still fill them up in like a week or two. To put it simply, let me just go through the notebook that I'm about to finish right now, which is the vintage field notes. So the very first page, I wrote a little journal entry that I have just started writing in this notebook and I really enjoy it already. I have a to-do list. I had an idea for a video that I wrote. I have an idea for a field notes order that I wanted to make. Some notes from some shorts I was watching. I just wrote, today is going to be a great day, 6 times. Point is, there's a lot of stuff that one could put in a notebook. And I have a rant. I have a whole rant. I could make this video a half an hour long, ranting about how it's actually easier than it seems. So it was probably about a year ago now. I had a little bit of trouble because I wasn't writing enough. I wasn't writing as much as I would have liked to. And I found that for me personally, the reason was, okay, there's a couple of reasons. Reason number one that I wasn't writing as much as I would have liked is I didn't really think to write stuff down. Like I was just, sure, I had it for video ideas. I would predominantly early on, it was video related stuff in my notebooks, my pocket notebooks. So a lot of my writing was video related, which only happened once a week, which means I was not writing a whole ton. My shift came when I started to realize I can put anything in there and it doesn't have to be video related. And quite frankly, it probably shouldn't be most of the time because I make one video a week. And so one video every week means I don't write that much. But what I started doing was adding a little bit of journaling in there and adding a little bit of lists, grocery lists, to-do lists, different lists of all varieties. And the second thing that I did to start writing more was this is the hard part, this is where most people struggle, and myself included, to relinquish judgment. So whenever we write, we tend to want to edit. We tend to want to make it nice and neat and make it correct and make it sound good, or just make it make sense in general. But what I found, and what lots of people in the world have found, is that is not a really good way to go, because if you're trying to just fill things up, if you're trying to get your ideas onto paper, because you tend to filter a lot of stuff. So instead of thinking about something and processing it and then writing down the product of that, you think about things and you write things out and you process things on paper. So you go through that writing process of like, oh, here's an idea, throw it down on the paper, work it out, scribble it down, and then eventually that idea becomes whatever you want it to be, whatever your thought was, whatever your idea was. So instead of just thinking, I would think on paper. Thinking on paper is a tremendously huge way of how I have written so much more, because there's plenty of times I'll come up with an idea and like really just iron it out and figure out little details and stuff. It takes up like 5 or 6 pages. Like it fills up notebooks quickly. Okay, so how would if I was struggling now, if I was struggling with what to write or how to fill up my notebooks now, what would I do? What would I recommend for somebody who's in that position starting out? There's a few things I would recommend. One, this happens, I've had several comments like this where someone's like, I don't know what to write about. And I will reply, write about that. And by that I mean, write about the fact that you don't know what to write about. It may sound silly, it might be cringy, but that's the point. The point is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable when you're writing. So write about, my goal is to write more, but I don't know what to write about. And then you can work out that struggle on paper. You write, okay, I don't know what to write about, so I'm writing this. I want to write, and then you work out why you're not writing. Are you afraid that somebody's going to see it? Are you afraid that it might get judged? Or are you judging yourself? I mean, there's so many different things. The next thing, I've picked this up fairly recently. When I'm writing or if I'm journaling, this is specifically good for journaling. start off with a sort of sensory check-in. And what I mean by that is, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you feel? So you can list out those 5 things, do it in sentence form, do it as a list, doesn't matter. And you can say, okay, I'm seeing blue sky. And I'm also seeing green grass. I smell freshly cut grass. I hear a lawnmower. I can taste a little hint of the breakfast I had this morning, and I can also taste Diet Coke slightly. And I can feel the warmth of the chair that I'm sitting in. I can feel my own skin when I like rub my hands together. And then boom, after documenting all those things, you have written like a page or 2 or however big you write. But you could take all those things and write in detail about them, like, go into, instead of saying, I see blue sky, you can write everything that you see. You can look around and you can take in information. And this is one of the beautiful things about writing outside, which is a video on the screen about that. Writing outside, you have all of this experience that you're living in currently that you can write about, that at first might feel cliche or cringe or silly or whatever. But that's where the gold is. That's where you can write a ton. You can write a ton by experiencing. And what better way to experience than going outside and leaving your phone inside? And that leads me to another tangent. If you're on your phone too much, which I know most of us are, write about that. I've written so many entries about, I'm sick of my phone, I'm putting it away, I'm going to lock it in the bedroom, and I'm going to live without it for the rest of the day. So there's that. There's just a whole ton of things to write about. And then people come and say, my life's not interesting. My life is boring. I don't do anything. Say if all you do is wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed. Okay, while you're at work, write about what you'd rather be doing than going to work. Or write about what you see at your desk. Write about what you see in the office. Write about what you see on your commute to work. Like, I don't like the my life is boring excuse, because there's always something. There's beauty in the mundane. Even if it's your drive to work, there's beauty in the mundane. So if I want you to take anything home from this, if you don't know what to write about that. Document your sensory experience. Write about the simple things. There's beauty in the mundane. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge your writing. Because if you're writing, more than likely, it's only going to be for you. And really just have fun. Enjoy the physical experience of writing a lot of words on a lot of paper. Experience the joy of holding your notebook in your hand and then whipping it open to the open page and just scratching something in. There's joy to be found in that. So if you found this helpful, guys, let me know. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments. But yeah, thanks so much for being here, and thank you for watching.